Welcome back, number 25, Kevin Stevens.
We're all going to have choices in life. 28 years old, never did a drug in my life. Someone handed me something. So one 30-second decision I made changed the past of my life. For the next 24 years, my life went like this. We're on TV now, so it's kind of
scary.
You know, our radio and our podcast can see on TV, which is kind of new to us. So painfully, like I sat with you guys for a long time, guys, and sat there and say it's never going to be me, you know? Now I'm sitting here talking to you guys because it was me. I know how those people feel because I've been in those situations where I've been stuck, and when you're in it, you can't see it. It's very hard, it's a very difficult thing, addiction and substance abuse, and people need help, and we have to get out there and kind of educate people and try to do the best we can to help them. Welcome to Crosscheck. I am Kevin Stevens, and got another great show today. Looking forward to hearing from our guests. We got a best-selling author in here who does a lot of great stuff. I'm looking forward to talking to him, and let's go from there. I'll turn it over to my buddy Andy, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, we do have a great show today, and we'll get to them in a second, or get to Dave Wedge, our special guest, in a second. Want to talk to you first. You just got back from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, just got back from Pitt. Had playing a golf tournament for Family Links, which is a rehab place out there. It was a great day. It was had a lot of fun, a lot of good people, and then from there I talked to the basketball team over at Robert Morris, and yeah, that was good. You know, they listened, they were into it, and just trying to spread the message, right, Andy? Get out there and do what we can do to try to help. But it was it was a good couple of days. It's always nice to go to Pitt, but nice to be home with you guys again.
Absolutely. Yeah. and you were with the great Rob Mubako?
Yeah, the great Rob was out there. He was asking about you, Andy. He's your number one fan, but yeah, he's a good guy. He's got a lot of good stuff going on. He does a good job.
Andy's got a fan?
Yeah, imagine. He has a fan club. But,
whole club.
Yeah, but Rob's,
there's two of us.
Rob's a good guy. He does good work, and he's just trying to help in any way he can, too. He does some good stuff.
Yeah, he's a good guy with the sports performance.
Mm-hmm.
And so, filling in today for our friend Alyssa Horton is the great Kimberly Walsh from Brady's Landing, Sober Living.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. I know it's a very lofty perch here.
It is.
But I think you can handle it. Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Got this.
You'll be good.
You got this.
We're watching you, though.
All
We're
right.
watching.
Okay.
And
They're
I'll
all
be good.
watching you.
They're always watching. And we have the great Alex Bezanson.
The great.
I like it.
Yeah, from the unofficial official mayor of Abington.
That's
I
what
wish
you say.
she was a mayor. You can do something with these roads out here. It only takes us 45 minutes to get down 18.
Right, for this wonderful.
Wait a minute. I'm not a
enclave.
selectman anymore.
This wonderful
Our
enclave.
selectman is over at camera 3.
Right? Can we get somebody? Who do you know? Can we get a guy in?
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our cameraman, Jim Conley, on the
Yeah,
Board of
I
Selectmen.
like it.
All complaints
Nice.
go to him now.
Jim. So let's get started. Interesting story this week. West Virginia residents will be eligible for free community college tuition for an associate's degree or training certificate if they can meet certain requirements, including passing a drug test before each semester. And basically, West Virginia is facing a devastating drug epidemic, as we know. And the hope is that this will provide increased career education and higher quality employment opportunities as a way to help fight addiction. So my question is, Kevin, any downside to this?
Yeah, I think what type of drugs? We kind of group all these type of drugs into this. The opiates and the cocaine and everything's kind of into one place. But where does the marijuana come in? If you fail a marijuana test, you're going to lose.
Great point.
You're going to lose. Your college tuition. You're not going to be able to go to college. There's all different kinds of things going on. And like we all say, everybody's. I think more people are smoking marijuana than drinking at college. So it's one of those situations. It's a great program. I think it gives you, an opportunity to have a great education, and if you just do the right thing. But there's a lot of little things that that go into this, and what is drugs. What is it? What's it qualify of?
Yeah, I think it's cool because at least it is a step in the right direction. Like a positive approach as a reward as a reward for this. What do you think?
I think it's a great education. As I don't want to turn the show into political, but as Democrats, we're looking for free education, and I think I'm a big supporter of it. I'm just not sure all the details of this, and are they just going to drug test them once at the beginning of the semester, and then you're good to go for the semester? I mean, that doesn't make sense, but I like the concept. I think there should be certain goals you have to meet if you're going to get free tuition, and we just don't give it to everybody, and this is certainly one of the things that you should have to meet.
And it is a tax implication, too, because...
It is. But like I said, we're not going to turn this into a political show. That's for another day.
We're going to hear from Kimberly, and we're going to get her thoughts. What do you think?
I agree that it's a step in the right direction. Maybe it should look something more like people in recovery, as opposed to we're just going to give you a P-test, right?
Right.
So something that's more, maybe award it to someone who's outstanding in the recovery community, as opposed to just a free-for-all.
That's interesting. Yeah, like some kind of proof of performance,
right?
Kind of thing.
Well, and to follow up on that, I think people that are in recovery need something like this because they don't have an opportunity otherwise.
Right.
And if you're going to be in recovery, as we all know, you can't just be back out on the street.
Right.
So we need jobs and we need exit strategies with these programs.
Keep them engaged.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. So, but we'll see. And maybe other states will start adopting it. Maybe they won't. But at least West Virginia is trying something.
I think it's a good start.
So we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back with our special guest, Dave Wedge, best-selling New York Times author.
Looking forward to it.
Like it.
All right, we'll be right back.
1, 2, 3, 4. Boston, for Boston, we sing our refrain. For Boston, till listens as we play. For here our one hearts are true, and the towers on the heights we say heavens are blue. For Boston, till the echoes ring again. For Boston, till the echoes ring again.
Welcome back to Crosscheck. I'm Andy Bernstein here with two-time Stanley Cup winner, the nodding bobblehead, Kevin Stevens.
Got a head to it.
He's got a head. Yeah, your son broke it, right?
Yeah, tore the head off it.
And Kimberly Walsh from Brady's Landing is filling in for the
Comparable?
inimitable Alyssa Horn.
There. I like that.
All right. Yeah, no, she's off today on assignment. She's on assignment. All right. Let's welcome our first guest. And he is a New York Times best-selling author, journalist, an award-winning former reporter for the Boston Herald. And his books include a 2015 book, Boston Strong, A City's Triumph Over Tragedy. He's written a book called 12 about Tom Brady. And he's got a new one coming up about Whitey Bulger.
That's right. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
right.
Dave Wedge, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be here with you, Kevin.
No, Dave.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. You got just going through. We'll talk about your books later, but all these books are they're interesting in my eyes. It must have been a great fun. But let's just talk about where you started. You started at the Herald and kind of went from there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Grew up in Brockton and somehow made it to Boston College.
Nice,
nice. So you and I,
both of us somehow
both
made
Brockton
it there.
guys, both BC guys. So
yeah.
But yeah, I went to Boston College, got out, and I went to work at newspaper in Taunton for a few years, and then I went to Attleboro, and I got to the Herald in '99, and covered a lot of crime over the years, and was sent down to 9/11 that morning when the planes hit. So I was down there at Ground Zero for a couple of weeks, and station fire in 2003, and then I went into politics, and then 2013, the day the bombs went off on Boylston, I was the City Hall bureau chief, and so I was pretty close with Menino. I would see him every day, and as soon as the bombs went off, I got sent in, and I ended up covering that whole thing, and I went out in the middle of the night. I was out there in Watertown, and kind of led the Herald's coverage of that whole terrorist attack. And so when it was over, my co-author Casey Sherman, who had just written a book called The Finest Hours, which became a Disney movie with Casey Affleck and Chris Pine, got in touch with me and said, I need someone to write this book with me. What do you think? So we partnered up and wrote the book, and then it became the movie Patriots Day, and been going ever since with Casey.
Yeah, that's it's amazing. That's an amazing, obviously what happened and everything. And like you said, you were right in the action with the Herald. And then when you get that call, and tell us a little bit, how long did that take you? Tell us a little bit about that's an emotional. That's one of those things that's very tough for the whole city. And when you're right in the middle of it, that's a lot of action.
Yeah, it was, like I said, I was at 9/11, and it was a different scale, but it had a similar feeling where there was so much uncertainty in the city, and there was so much citywide grief, and we struggled with the name Boston Strong because it started becoming such a cliche, but we kept going back to it really was fitting because the city was really pulled together. And you look at some of those people like the Richard family, a girl like Michelle LaRue that we wrote about who nearly lost her leg and almost died. And Heather Abbott, who did lose a leg and then started a foundation to raise money to get prosthetic limbs for other amputees. That's Boston Strong. Yeah. Those people, the way that they picked up the pieces from that horrible day and turned their lives around and went on to do great things. That's what it all means.
Yeah. Another thing is that, there's so many other stories behind, you see the big stories that you hear, the newspaper, whatever we read, but you're writing, there was so much more that you must have seen, with families.
Yeah, I mean, look, every single person down there, there's 200 people that got hurt. There was, 4 people that lost their lives, a fifth a couple of years later. But, every single one of those person had an incredible story. So it was tough for me and Casey to kind of figure out who to write about. Yeah. But we just, we ended up getting close to a group of survivors, and they were really welcoming to us and opened up. And, we think the book is very inspirational. There's definitely some sad parts, but it was an honor to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's great. And then
it really was, yeah.
You also wrote a book on Tom Brady.
We did, yeah. Last summer came out on my birthday, which was July 31st.
Okay.
So, 2018. It's about Deflategate, and it's really more of a courtroom thriller than it is a sports book, but it has the sports element, obviously. It's really about how the NFL took this Deflategate situation, which was a minor equipment violation, and they took it and blew it up into literally the biggest sports scandal of the last 30 years, and they turned it into a federal court case where the game's biggest star was really tarred and feathered by Roger Goodell, and it was all because of his thirst for power, is what it was.
And why do you think? Why did that? Obviously us, and by the stupidest thing I've personally I've ever seen in my life that over a little football thing with the quarterback. Every quarterback does it. Why do you think this became such the story it became?
Well, it's funny, when we started writing it, when Deflategate happened, I think everyone just kind of rolled their eyes, deflated footballs. After Spygate, we're like, all right, they're looking for anything but the league seized on it, and you played hockey. Yeah. It's no different than a guy whose curve is too much.
Yeah,
and it's a penalty, a small fine.
Great.
But Goodell needed to assert himself with the owners, and after Spygate, he was criticized by the owners, and they said the next time you have a chance to nail the Patriots, you better do it, or you're in trouble. And that's what he did. He took Brady down, and to be clear, the league won Deflategate. Tom Brady lost Deflategate, but where he won is on the field, and that was the ultimate redemption. And that's really the book ends with that. I don't want to give away the ending, but it's with that incredible comeback against the Falcons, where it's like, okay, you can knock me down, but I'm going to get back up.
Kimberly's a big Tom Brady fan.
Love him. Yes. Did you work with him at all?
He's awfully handsome, isn't he?
Isn't he just
He's better looking than Kevin?
Yeah.
Kevin won best looking man in hockey, okay?
He did.
65 years ago.
It was 35 last time, but now
the biggest thing was, how did you, to get to Brady, we all how does anybody get that, able to get in there and write a book on it? That's amazing.
We were able to get some cooperation from Tom. We were able to, we spent some time with him down at the practice facility, and then, we were able to get him some questions and did some email interviews, and it was kind of cool. He has, he sent us voice notes. So I have in my email a bunch of Brady's voice notes. He's reading our questions and giving it, hey guys, how are you? It's kind of cool, but he was great. And, I spent a little bit of time with James White for the book, and he's a really good guy. And
that's what I hear. Yeah,
Marcus Cannon, Teddy Karras, who was a great, interesting guy. You might remember his dad was an actor.
Yeah.
He was in the
Alex?
movie Alex Karras.
Yeah.
He was in,
Played football in the Hall of Fame. He did not make it to the Hall of
you
Fame.
know what? I think it's Ted. I believe it's his dad. Yeah, it's his dad. And he was in Blazing Saddles.
wow.
He's
And
the guy who
Webster.
punches out the horse.
And Webster.
Yeah, he was in Webster. That's right.
Nice.
So a lot of fun stuff like that. You know, we got to talk to Mr. Kraft and Jonathan a little bit, and it was a great project, and the book did very well. You know, hit the New York Times bestseller list, and we do have some movie stuff going on with that one as well.
That's
so
awesome.
It's way down the line, but it's on the list.
So when you start writing all 2013, you said you started.
Yeah, 2000. So I always wanted to do books, and kind of becoming a reporter was always my plan to find a way to write books, and it just kind of took a little longer than I thought.
And in the 6 years, some of the the material in the books you've been able to for me, like reading or writing, like it must be interesting because you're doing that stuff that you like to know. Like some people write books. I don't know. I read books that I can't believe people write.
Yeah, no, we've been lucky. We've had some success, and great stories are now coming to us. And the other book that Casey and I did together was the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yeah, talk
Pete
about that.
Yeah. Pete Frady's. When you talk about the Boston sports Mount Rushmore, he's right on there with Brady and Bobby Orr and Ted Williams. In my opinion, the guy's had as much of an impact on Boston sports in the country as anyone, really. And it's funny when that book came out, we did a huge premiere at Fenway Park. And, the mayor was there, David Ortiz was there, but the kids that were there gathered around Pete as much as they cared about Ortiz or the mayor or anyone else. It was like, he's a massive celebrity. And, Pete's real legacy, I think, is not only, what he did to raise awareness about ALS, but what he did to show the power of social media. Which is what the Ice Bucket Challenge did. It really
Went viral, right?
It showed the power of philanthropy through social media, and it was the biggest social media philanthropy campaign to this date. $220 million and counting. The
Wow.
5-year anniversary is coming up next month.
Wow.
And Pete was supposed to not be here anymore, but he's still here 7 years into his diagnosis, and he was at Copley Square the other day to celebrate the 5-year anniversary.
Isn't that fantastic?
It's a great story, and we have a Netflix movie that we're working on that book, and we're working with the Frady's family. Casey Affleck's involved as a producer, so we're hoping to get this one out soon. Hoping to get it filming next year.
Maybe we can do it right on the show. We can all dump a big bucket of ice on Andy. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I want to be there for that.
That'd be like,
That would probably make a lot of us happy.
That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Stuff them in ice.
And exactly like a fish.
But to your point, Kevin, these stories are all amazingly inspirational stories, and that's what Casey and I look for.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. And now, you got this. I know Peter Marciano. Like you obviously you're friends with him.
Yeah.
Like, I played baseball against him for probably 4 or 5 years when he played for Brockton Legion. I played over in Duxbury, and we had some great raw. He was. I love Peter.
Did you ever collide with him at home plate?
He was small, but we battled all over the place. He liked to talk a little bit too, and I like to talk a little bit too. So he had a lot of energy, and it was.
Yeah.
I loved him. When all the stuff was going down, and then he had some problems, but a great guy, right? Just one of those, you're friends with him, and you guys did a little story on him also, right?
Yeah, we did a big piece for Boston Magazine, and we've been talking with some different production houses about possibly doing a documentary about his life. I mean, Peter, nephew of Rocky Marciano, so he had that burden his whole life, and as he said, he was a smaller guy. He's much like an Edelman, and he ended up at Iowa playing in the Big Ten. Still holds the punt return record in the Big Ten, amazingly. And but he took a lot of head shots. He took had a lot of shoulder injuries, and he got hooked on the painkillers, and eventually became a heroin addict. And he battled that for most of his adult life. And even though he had that dark side of him, he was doing some great things. As you mentioned, he was umpiring. He was active politically, became a member of the school committee in Brockton. And, ironically, the Brockton mayor, Bill Carpenter, just passed away.
Yeah. Right.
If Peter were alive today and was clean, he would be the next mayor of Brockton.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think
people love the kid.
Yeah. No,
Great personality.
Yeah, and you can just tell just the way the type of kid he was. And like I said, I saw him later after, and he was umpiring a lot of games, and he was the same way, high energy. He really liked his job, liked everything he did. he put a big effort into it.
Yeah, and he was just, he had a good heart. He had a really bad addiction, and to the point of what you guys are doing here, and I love the fact that you guys have this recovery based sort of show, and with Peter, it was something that he wanted to get over, but he never could, and he knew that he couldn't beat it, and he didn't know why.
Right.
And that's really where the recovery part comes in, is you got to find that why.
Right. And then you obviously Stephen, his brother, you worked with on the book or on the story.
Yeah. Stephen and I went to Boston College together, and Stephen has a really heartbreaking story about his brother, where before Peter died, they had a horrible falling out right around the holidays.
Oh.
And, that's caused Stephen and the whole family a lot of pain, but they were doing it because they were trying to do the tough love thing and trying to get Peter to realize, like, you're losing everything. And unfortunately, Peter, just wasn't able to get clean, and he overdosed and passed away.
Stephen is a real advocate for this too, speaking frequently.
Yeah, he's out all the time telling the story to kids at schools all over the place. And if you have a chance to see him speak, I'd recommend it. He's a great speaker. And again, it's one of those stories that it definitely, there's some tears involved, but it's got a very positive message.
And I think the biggest message, and what this opiate thing is, it can happen to anybody, right? That's the things that you have to get through to some people sometimes, because it don't matter if you live in Duxbury or you play football at Iowa, you live in wherever. It doesn't, Roxbury, it doesn't pick and choose who this thing's going to take. And it's hard. Like, addiction is a hard thing. And like you said, they had fallen out with the family and all that stuff. But, those are things that, you don't ever want to happen as an addict,
right?
Me being an addict, but, sometimes you just can't get it. And when it's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, Peter was an interesting story because he wasn't a partier. When he was at Iowa, he wasn't at the keg parties and ripping it up all the time. He liked to have a good time, but he wasn't really known as like a big partier. But once he found the painkillers and then ultimately heroin, he found the substance that made him feel better. Yeah. And as someone in recovery, that's why addiction happens. That you're trying to find that thing that makes you feel better. And then once you find it, it takes control of your life, and you have to find a way to heal that inner turmoil.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing, because the progression, you at first you're doing it, it feels good and everything's good, but then that progression leads to addiction, and then you're stuck, and then you need it every day.
Physically, chasing the dragon.
Right. Yeah, you're chasing forever. And
I think Peter, when Peter told his family that he had tried heroin, he confessed it, and he said, "This is it for me." He really knew that was the thing that was going to be his ultimate demise, and it's really sad.
So it sounds like a lot of the stories that you do are sports, like we were talking about, or they have a sports element, but really it's got a human interest.
Yeah,
I mean, is that by design? Like your passion, like we were talking off air, your passion is sports and music.
Yeah.
So what makes you decide to take on specific projects?
Sports and music are my passion, and to me, those are the things that bring us together as people.
Right.
And we're a culture of storytellers, and why do we love sports? Because we love an underdog story. We love a story of triumph. And I think that my background is investigative journalism, so combining those two kind of passions, I'm able to find, with my co-author, we're able to find some stories that we think, really speak to people. I mean, the Boston Marathon is one of the greatest things that we have in this state, in this city. It's one of the greatest days. It's winter's over. People get outside, have a good time. It's these, people in wheelchairs and these people, 80-year-old people running 26 miles, Heartbreak Hill. And for someone to attack that,
it's sacred, really.
It's sacred. And then all the stories of the people that were harmed, totally innocent, completely innocent people. So it really, we knew someone was going to write the story and write the movie, but we felt we needed to do it because we thought that we could get beyond just the tragedy and tell the story of, again, recovery, how people got over it.
Which is a great segue, because what we want to actually talk to you about is you also do public relations.
I do a little bit.
A little bit, right? And so you're working with a new book.
Yeah.
or a new author.
Yeah, so Eric Spofford from Granite Recovery Centers. He's I've been doing some work with him for a while, and I helped edit the book that he has just put out. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it, and we'll have him in soon, hopefully. But it's got a great message of a lot of the things we're talking about.
Yeah, so we want to hear about it. Can you stick with us for another segment?
Sure, happy to.
Okay, yeah, because we want to hear all about it, and we're going to talk about spilling the ice. We got a caucus about how we're going to
Drench him. Yeah,
Drench him.
Yeah,
We got to get him a really big bucket. Though,
yeah,
Kevin.
like a huge
huge bucket.
big
barrel.
and big ice cubes, so we can drop it on his head.
What, like Flintstone ice cubes? All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back on Crosscheck.
1, 2, 3, 4. Boston, for Boston, we sing out everything. For Boston, till wisdom's earthly flame. For here our water also true, and the towers on the heights we say heavens are blue. For Boston, till the echoes ring again. For Boston, till the echoes ring again.
Welcome back to Crosscheck. I'm Andy Bernstein here with two-time Stanley Cup champion, the pride of Pembroke, Massachusetts, the great Kevin Stevens. Pembroke. Did I not say it right?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, that was good.
All right,
you're
I'm
getting
trying.
it. You're getting it.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm from Maryland.
Yeah,
What are you going to do?
yeah.
Right? And the great Alex Bazanson.
We got 2 greats at the table.
Yeah.
We got 3
I
greats.
throw that out lightly,
we
right?
have
Like I'm a
real
little
great at
Real
the
great
table.
one,
I'm very free with my greatness. I
Yeah.
just throw it out there. And joining us is Dave Wedge, New York Times bestselling author. And Dave has a book out that he promotes with a writer, Eric Spofford.
Yes, yeah.
So Kev's going to
Yeah, let's
Do the honors here.
Let's. I know you guys spent some time with it's a recovery book, which kind of it's obviously that's interesting to everybody that listens and watches
Yeah.
this show. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So Eric Spofford is he's the founder of Granite Recovery Centers, and I've been doing some work with Eric for a couple of years, helping him with his messaging, his communications, and all that stuff. And he came to me with the idea to write this book. It's called Real People, Real Recovery, and that's kind of their mantra at Granite Recovery. And Eric and his co-author is a guy named Piers Kanuka, and Piers was actually Eric's sponsor.
Oh, wow.
And so, when I talked to Eric about the book, he said, look, he didn't want it to be like his biography or his memoir. So it's not, you get a little bit of a sense of the stories of Eric and Piers and how they got to the situations they got into and how they got clean. But then the book really gets into the root causes of addiction. It gets into, the societal factors that make addiction worse. All the stuff that we deal with in today's modern society, like these things, technology, anxiety, depression, all that stuff, the prison industrial complex, and most of all, Big Pharma, and the way that Big Pharma kind of flooded the market with these painkillers that so much about. But then, most relevant is the book offers you some potential ways out of the situation.
And I think that's the biggest thing. We all, find our way into this thing. And I think the biggest thing is just being able to find, it looks like it's simple reading that you can kind of relate to it, which is important to especially a person like myself, right? And it's simple.
That's right.
Well, you were able
Lots
to
of
read.
pictures.
You were,
Lots of pictures.
Yeah.
you were able to read your contracts, though, right?
Right?
No,
I
he
made
had
sure.
somebody. He had somebody do that for him.
No, they
No,
never
but
know. My
they-
contracts I read.
Their big thing, one of their big messages in the book, Eric and Piers, is it's called the dislocation theory, and it's kind of what I just talked about, how we live in such a disconnected society, and while the internet's brought people so much closer together, it's actually made a lot of people feel much more isolated and alone in the world. And their big message in the book is one important factor to getting better is to connect with other people. And have a
Community.
purpose, have a community,
Right.
And they call it a tribe in
Okay.
the book,
Yeah.
and they want a tribe of people that are focused on recovery and being healthy and leading a healthy lifestyle, but really connecting with each other and sitting down and talking, and rather than just texting and messaging and watching movies. And
I think that's important from our work with Teen Challenge and seeing some of those guys. They leave there, and we've spoken about this before, and they're almost like back on the street. They need that tribe, that brotherhood that they call it, in order to stay sober.
Well, why does AA work? That's why.
Exactly.
Because you're in there with like-minded people that have a common mission.
Right.
And staying sober is not something you can do on your own.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. Like you said, it's about being with people that are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do, and positive people. You can't do that on the phone. You can't relate to people. You gotta be able to talk to people and be able to share your story. If you're hurting a little bit, if you're face to face with someone, you can kind of get that connection, which and that's the most important. But it's about change, right? Yeah. Changing the people, the negative and all the influences you were with, to a positive, type of atmosphere. And I think the only way you can do that is through meetings and through different groups and different things, how you can, to relate to different people that are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do.
And I think, as you know, Kevin, you're out speaking all the time, and you do a lot of community service. That's a big piece of it too. Let's face it, idle time is the devil's plaything. You got to focus on something, and a big part of what they focus on is helping other people find this recovery that they have found.
Yeah, and that's when you're in recovery, like myself. It's like the most thing that makes you feel the best is when someone else gets this. You can help someone else get sober, because as an addict, a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to get sober. People think, why can't you just stop? But as an addict, it's impossible to just say, why can't you just stop? It's about helping people, and that's the most rewarding thing, is when you can see someone kind of follow that path of getting sober. You can see them, have that life come back into them, which, it takes a little bit of time, but it's a great thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one other message in the book is that they think that message that you're talking about, the recovery community itself needs a seat at the political table and the policy-making table, which hasn't really happened. You've got, lawmakers, law enforcement, the medical community, all making these decisions that impact the recovery community, but no one from the recovery community is actually sitting at those tables and in those meetings. So Eric's book is a call to action for activism among the recovery community. Get out there, get involved, run for office. And again, back to Brockton, you got a guy like Bill Carpenter. The mayor of Brockton was very lucky to have him, because he put a lot of time and resources towards the opiate problem that's really ravaged Brockton. And it was because of his personal connection to that problem. So you need more people like that in positions of authority.
Right, and that's part of breaking the stigma, so people can feel like they can go out and feel comfortable sharing.
So I'm here to announce Kevin's candidacy for governor.
Right? Or vote for none of the above, like from Brewster's Millions.
Yes. Great movie.
Right?
And you're going to be the campaign manager.
So you mentioned something about, I have a question. You mentioned something about prison industrial complex. What exactly does that mean?
So it's kind of the way, the system is set up. Low-level users wind up snared by the system. You got these guys that are, they're really just, it's personal use. They might sell a little bit just to fund their own habit. And instead of putting those people in treatment, we're putting that money towards prison. And once they're in prison, they're felons. It's hard for them to break out of that stigma. You talk about a stigma. It's a bad enough stigma to be a drug addict. Now you're a felon and a drug addict. Right. So that's the prison industrial complex, is where, once you're caught in that system, it's really, really hard to break out. And the way that we can change that, according to the book Piers and Eric wrote, is to that first step in court, to have some different options. And some of the courts do a good job. Brockton's got the drug court, Boston's got the drug court. But I think as a society, we have to stop looking at, like Kevin said, these people they're sick, right? And they need help.
not
Prison's
being arrested.
Yeah, and once like you said, once you get caught in that system, it's hard to get out of it. Then when you're in it as the addict, you kind of get upset with it. You're never going to get out of it. There's nothing. You're not learning anything in prison. You kind of.
You're learning how to be a better criminal.
Yeah, that's just it. If anything, you're getting worse. Right. You're getting worse in there, and it's very important. Like you said, is find a different way. And the drug courts are huge, but it's just sometimes it's just not enough. It's just you're getting that you get in that little role and then you get stuck. You know, when you're stuck, it's tough.
I think, you know, the violent crimes are obviously
Yeah.
a different ball game, you know, but if you're putting some kid away because he has
they're
some
caught with-
Percocets,
Right.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's like
Yeah.
that what's that going to do to that kid? It's going to ruin his life.
Well, we had Tim Cruz on last week, the DA from Plymouth County.
Another great guy.
Yeah, and he talked a lot about that as
The
well.
drug courts and everything, yeah.
Can you show a copy of the book, Kev?
Real people, real recovery.
There you go.
Yeah, so
And
it's
we will have the
available
right-
everywhere, Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Yeah.
online, all that. And you know, Eric and Piers are really smart guys who've their personal stories are incredible, and I think the information in the book is going to help a lot of people.
Awesome.
And we'll get them on at a future show.
Yeah.
Get them on themselves
Yeah.
and can talk some more about it.
Turk.
But before you go, and I know you have to run, I want to talk a little bit about the Turk movie you're doing. Turk was our first guest when we started filming.
Yeah.
And great guest. He spoke for an hour about his life story, and it's
He's the coolest guy ever,
incredible
even at
story.
70.
Yeah. Well, it's a great story, you know. So Casey Sherman and I, you know, we've written all these books together, and we're doing some more. We've also started a film production company because now we're involved in the film side of the storytelling. And Casey, a few years back, got involved with the Turk project when it was in its developmental stages, and he ended up rewriting the script. So now we're going to co-produce the movie with another guy named Michael Bassick, who is he did the American Made, the Tom Cruise movie. He did Black Mass. He was a producer on those projects. So we're working with Derek on that, and you know, it's a story of recovery,
Right.
in some ways, but in a lot of ways, you know, Derek was the first $1 million pro athlete,
Right.
as you guys know, and I think that a lot of people around the country would be surprised to learn that the first $1 million athlete was a hockey player,
Right.
and you know, and that guy rolled around with guys like Joe Namath, you know, he was in nightclubs with Joe,
Right.
and
I had no idea.
he was, you know, he was a flashy guy. You know, he's Bob Orr's, you know, right-hand man, but they couldn't have been more different. So it's a great story. You know, it has elements of The Fighter, you know, and it has elements of a great, you know, great story of you know, rise, fall, rise again.
And he was doing really well.
And the craziest thing about Derek's story is it was almost 3.5, 4 years where it was a million, like making all that money and living in a park bench. You know, that's quick. Like, you know, for most addicts, it takes a little time. But he went pretty quick where he was.
You know, his story mirrors yours in a lot of ways, Kevin. You know, I mean, he went to the top. You know, he was the top paid athlete in the world at one time. Then he went to the WHA, and that's where it all fell apart. It's, you know, kind of like you after you left the Penguins, things didn't get so great for you, and but he bounced back. You bounced back, and
it's all good. It's
that's
good story.
great.
Good
Great
guy.
message. you
yeah.
know?
And now he's doing a radio show, podcast with us. I mean, does it get any better?
Yeah.
This is the highlight of Dave's career, I'm sure.
I mean, this is like, I mean,
I
this is like,
love being here. It's an honor to be
Wow.
with Kevin and Alex. You've been good to me over the years, so I'm happy to do it.
You've been very good to me, too. So.
well, thank you, Dave, for coming on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
thanks.
it-
Thank you guys for doing the show. I think, you know, like much like the book, I think this can help a lot of people.
Using media and books
Got to
and
do it.
as a platform.
We're culture storytellers. Let's tell stories.
That's it.
Awesome.
You know?
That's
Good
it.
Stuff.
Well, make sure you come back again.
Yeah,
We'd
you
love
were
to have
great.
you.
I'd love to.
great.
Anytime.
Good
And
stuff.
update us on the Turk movie and anything else you're doing. You're always welcome.
That's great. Maybe you guys can shoot live from the premiere.
We
Yeah.
will.
We would love to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'd love to. We'll
Any
bring that.
idea a time frame on
We're
that?
hoping, you know, we're hoping to get into production this year.
Great.
I buried the lead. You know, we do have our director, a guy named John Curran, who directed Chappaquiddick, which
Okay.
is a great movie. And we wanted to have that kind of feel, that really authentic, kind of dark, sort of gritty feel, because that's what Derek's story is. It's pretty dark and gritty.
Oh, it is.
He's the coolest guy, though. He's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Dave, for
Yeah,
coming
thank
on.
you guys.
Yeah, thanks,
Kevin.
buddy. Thanks,
Appreciate
bud.
it.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back on Crosscheck.
1, 2, 3, 4. Boston, for Boston, we sing out refrain. For Boston, till this earthly flame. For here our blood, our hearts are true, and the towers on the heights we say heavens are blue. For Boston, till the echoes ring again. For Boston, till the echoes ring again.
Welcome back to Crosscheck. I'm Andy Bernstein here with Kevin Stevens, Alex Bezanson,
That's me.
Kimberly Walsh filling in for Alyssa Horton from Brady's Landing, the sober women's living home.
Sober home for women in Cape Cod. That's
Okay.
it.
Cape Cod. Nice.
Does it get any better than
Yeah.
that?
Does not get any
Sandwich.
better.
Sandwich. It was wonderful.
And
down
we've
there.
been down to look at the facility, and it's gorgeous. Right in the
Gorgeous,
marsh. Beautiful
gorgeous.
place.
Yeah, it is awesome. So let's go to Canada. Let's
go to Canada.
Let's
Manitoba.
welcome Manitoba. Let's welcome our next guest, Ryan Pandolfi. He created an organization called the Pandolfi Initiative, and we're thrilled to have him on. And Alex, take it away.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Alex, how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
thanks
stuff,
for
Ryan.
coming
Thanks
on.
for coming on.
So
Well, this is an honor, you guys.
I met Ryan when I was traveling with the NHL Legends in Newfoundland, wasn't it?
It was actually in Shiloh, Manitoba, which is about 20 minutes
that's
away
right.
on the base.
Yes.
On the base, yeah.
That was on the base where everyone lived in barracks
Hmm.
for the weekend. We did. We did.
Yeah.
Except they put Ray Bork in the barracks,
Yeah.
and myself and John Horrigan, the announcer, we
Yeah.
had a private house.
That's good.
They put Ray Bork on the bus.
Yeah.
John and I had a limousine. But Ray does that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
to
that's
be with
good.
the guys. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a great guy. So, yeah, you actually played in the game, didn't you?
I sure did, yeah. I met the gentleman who was actually putting it on together, Ian Taylor from Shiloh, and I heard about the Bruins alumni game coming to Shiloh, and so I immediately reached out and wanted to get tickets, and so I got tickets right away. And to be honest with you guys, I've never even played hockey before growing up. My family, I grew up on the outdoor rinks and all that kind of stuff, but I got a call from Ian one day and said the Bruins alumni have asked him to fill in 3 spots. And he says, do you want to play? And I said, I don't play, but I will get gear. I'll be there. You bet your butt I'll be there. So I actually borrowed gear from 4 different buddies to make it happen. And I had shoulder pads. I had like that didn't even fit me. But I kid you not, I actually had no clue what I was doing. But there was no way I was going to miss this game. I actually had to practice getting dressed. You guys can laugh at all you want, but I legit had no clue what I was doing. I had to
Ryan, I
practice
did the
getting
same
dressed.
thing.
That's great.
Yeah, I had to practice, and then I went to the game, and I remember I got there about 3 hours early, and they were giving me a hard time because I got dressed about 9 times because I just didn't want to get out there and find out, I'm dressed wrong or something like that. So, and then lo and behold, Terry O'Reilly ends up sitting beside me, and you won't meet a more of a class act than Terry, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's great.
So, Ryan, I met you up there, obviously, and we've remained friends on Facebook and messaging each other back and forth. And I've been following the birth of your son, who's a great Bruins fan, whether he knows it or not. And
That's right.
and you've got a good story. You had an alcohol problem, and you've been sober now for how long?
It'll be 17 months here coming up, just
Nice.
over a
Congratulations.
year, about a year and a half. So.
Yeah, good stuff.
And you
Yeah,
started
absolutely.
the Pandolfi Initiative. Why don't you tell us what you're doing with that and how you became sober and a little bit of your background?
For sure. Well, with me, my mental health and my sobriety and my community work and stuff like that, they literally all go hand in hand, to be honest with you guys. I started doing charity events back in 2010 when I had lost a family member, and I just started doing little things to try to bring some awareness to different things. And the feeling that I was getting from being able to help other people was very, very satisfying, and a feeling that was really awesome to know that your efforts are going to helping other people. So I went through a lot of ups and downs over the years, and I was actually scouting for a junior hockey team in 2011 out in Ontario. And I was always really fascinated by when guys would come back home, professional hockey players from Brandon, and they would bring stuff for sick children. You know what I mean? And so I started doing that and reaching out to kids that were battling cancer and battling illnesses. And I started developing friendships with different kids and families that were going through this nasty disease. I really felt that it was the small things that could make the biggest difference in people's lives. I was very fortunate to receive an award from the Cancer Society for this, and it was really just a starting point for me. I don't want to overtake you guys' podcast and just start rambling on.
No,
But you guys,
it's all
you guys
your
step in at any time. Yeah. But in 2012, my best friend by the name of Crystal was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that was really the start of everything for me. To keep a very long story, just kind of short and quick here, not quick, but to the point, it was on September 11th, 2013, and she had been given the news that her cancer had actually gone terminal. She had a husband, 2 little girls, 6 and 8 years old. Tragic. So right away, I remember her brother coming to me and saying, you know, would you be willing to do a social for my sister? And I didn't bat an eye, and so we ended up planning a social for her in her time frame that we were given. So she ended up, if you can kind of wrap your head around this tragedy, is she ended up passing away on October the 6th, 4 days after she passed away, very, very tragically and suddenly her brother passed away unexpectedly.
Wow.
And then 2 days after that, we held her social and her funeral. It was so much, you know, exactly. And it was just, when I tell the story, I don't even know how to explain such a tragedy, because it was so tragic. He was helping me plan the social for her, and all of a sudden I get a phone call and he's passed away unexpectedly as well.
Wow.
So we ended up having her social anyways on the same day as her funeral. So 4 days after her passing, 6 days and 4 days after her brother's, we had her social and funeral. We raised $17,000, and that for me was a big wake up that this is a great feeling that I can help out people, but my mental health, I could really feel it getting heavy. So we did another event for her brother and we raised more money, but it was soon after that where I described it as literally the worst year of my life. I would turn to drinking and really just a really dark hole, guys, for a year. I was with my...
So your drinking got worse during that time, but then your initiative and your helping other people, that's what's helping you stay sober?
100%. So what I was going on was it was 10 months of just mad denial of depression and the drinking, and I knew I needed to make a change, and I didn't want to admit the fact that I had depression, right? We hear that word, and for me especially, it was soft. It was weak.
Well, that goes along with it. You know, it definitely goes along with it.
And I just remember so many times, you know, people saying to me, you know, you should go and try to get some help and stuff. But I just really felt that wasn't me. And to be very bluntly honest with you guys, my biggest wake-up call that I needed to really get some help was when Robin Williams tragically passed away. And I thought to myself, if a funniest guy on TV is going through stuff, then it's okay that I'm going through stuff as well, right? So you guys may not know a gentleman by the name of Big Daddy Taz, but here in Canada, he's a huge mental health advocate and a great comedian. And I reached out to him and we started doing more charity events. And that for me was literally what saved my life. I was going down a very dark hole because I was just sitting twiddling my thumbs all the time and, you know, kind of going stir crazy thinking about how sad I was. And luckily I was able to get back on that horse and reach out to some people and started doing more charity events, and really from there the rest is history.
Yeah, it's amazing how quick, you know, it can happen too, Ryan. You know, like you said, you were planning a thing for a sister, then the brother dies, and all this, you know, happens, and it kind of catches you right off guard. Next thing you know, you're depressed a little bit, and then you're drinking, and the depression becomes worse. So I think, you know, it can it all sneaks up on you as quick as, you know, it really sneaks up on you. You gotta be aware of that, the awareness and the stigma of the depression. Like you said, all those things can catch up to you pretty quick.
They sure did. And, you know, I look back on that, guys, and I never took it serious. I know coming we're in 2019, and last year, it was in 2017, sorry, wife tragically lost her mother very unexpectedly as well. And again, we just, as a natural cause, a lot of us today, we turn to drinking, right? Like, it's like, oh, well, something bad happened. I guess I have a reason to drink. And it was literally on February 27th for me over a year ago that I realized that this is not right. This is not the mindset that I can't handle it. I can't have that one drink because of my mental health just kind of goes haywire. And so that night I made the clear decision that I was going to be a better father, a better husband, a better man, a better community member, because I'm a better person sober. and I'm no good to anybody. You know, the biggest wake up me too was this winter season. I took my stepdaughter, to a lot of university volleyball games. And last year, I never would have done that. And the reason why I never would have done that is because I was too concerned about getting home as fast as I can to craft that beer, right? Now that I'm sober, I enjoy these things. And a week after I decided I was going to be sober, I got a phone call that we were having a baby. And so we were planning that already, and everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that, and it was great. And life is good right now.
Well, Ryan, you know, I've been following you since we met up there, and you're doing great things, and keep up the good work. You're a good father. I follow you on Facebook. I see all the things you're doing, and you're doing all the right things. So we appreciate you calling in today, and hopefully I'll be back up there. Actually, Kevin may be going up there to see you in the fall, I guess.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to get up there, Ryan. It's you got great stuff going on. Keep it going, bud. You know, keep everything.
I appreciate that.
It's awesome.
And just from me to you guys, I just want you guys to know how beyond honored I am. I was laughing saying I'm going on to talk about mental health, and my anxiety is through the roof. But that kind of goes hand in hand, right, guys? So
that's good. All good stuff, Ryan.
It's good, you know, and do what you do to love, and I appreciate this so much, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Ryan.
Bye, Ryan.
We'll be right
Take
back.
care.
We'll be right back on Crosscheck.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Boston, for Boston, we sing out refrain. For Boston, till this earth be fair. For here our blood, our hearts are true, and the towers on the heights we say heavens are blue. For Boston, till the echoes ring again. For Boston, till the echoes ring again.
Welcome back to Crosscheck. My name is Andy Bernstein, here with Kevin Stevens, Alex Bezanson, and Kimberly Walsh from Brady's Landing, as filling in as a special guest. Quick and painless, right?
Special
great.
host.
How was it? It's hard to get in a word with us.
Yeah, these guys like to talk. It's okay, though.
We're chatty, but it's good. It's your indoctrination into this.
She went from a guest on the show a few weeks ago
To
a host.
co-hosting.
That's right.
They're running the show.
I
I don't need you guys, actually.
right, one and done. You're one and done. You're out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Great show. I really appreciate Dave Wedge. He really
Great stories.
Yeah,
He's awesome.
Yeah, we need people like Dave to really get out there, tell the stories about what's going on here in the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
Kev.
Yeah, he was. Wedgie was. He's one of those guys that kind of. He's got great book. They're all books that I would like to go do. Like all of us are kind of interested in all that kind of stuff, which is great. But yeah, it's another good show. If we had a lot of Ryan came on and kind of explained his story, like what depression and how it can sneak up on you really quick. But it's all about hope. It's all about getting out there and kind of like. You gotta take that first initiative, that first step to where you gotta say, I need the help and I need people to help you, and we can help. That's what we do. We come on here, 1 hour a week to try to help people. If we can help one person today from this show, that's a bonus. But we can help, and people can listen. And when you listen, this is real. It's real stuff. If you need help, just contact us on powerforward25.com, which is our website, Andy. You're pretty proud of me.
Wow. Wow.
But, it's we're here for you. So if you need help and you need to get some answers, we'll help you.
Absolutely. You can always call Sam's show too, which
Absolutely.
is the number 1-800-662-HELP.
And that's on the screen now.
And what do you say?
I say that the struggle is real. Absolutely. 100%. And we feel better. We get better by helping others.
Right.
It's an unbelievable feeling, and we're happy to help. People don't understand that, and they need to know. They need to know.
To share their story.
Absolutely.
What say you, my friend?
Well, I want to bring one of our crew out here. If Chris would come out of the control room.
Well, it's Chris. I
Come on out for a minute.
I like it.
Come on, Chris.
Chris has been our director, our engineer,
glue.
The backbone of this show. And unfortunately, today is his last show. So come on
Come
over.
on over, Chris.
Lisa has a cake for you.
Oh, nice.
Right in front of the
Yeah.
desk, right in front, right
Right
up
in
front.
front.
There
Come
you
on.
go.
Come on. There you go.
Yeah.
I like it, kid.
You
I
guys
like
are too
it.
nice.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
Chris. Thanks, buddy.
everything you've done
Thank
for
you
us.
for doing it. It's been an honor.
Yeah,
It's been
you're
really
awesome.
fun.
Thank you,
Chris.
Good to see you too.
And just so our viewers know, Chris is moving to New York City to pursue his master's in theater
In theater, yeah.
theater production.
Because why would I want to be able to get a job?
Yeah.
And not do, leaving all this behind.
And remember, when he's famous,
Yeah.
he started here,
Yeah.
right?
Right here in Abington.
right.
Right here in Abington.
All right.
Right, yeah, good stuff.
Thanks again, Chris.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Chris. And that's our show for the week. And we will see you next time on Crosscheck. Have a great week.
All right.
The week, everybody. Have a great week, everybody.
All
You
good.
too, Andy.
Thank you.
Take care.